early.
Kyle, you get the first question.
Jacob, obviously have looked a lot different offensively, a lot more potent the last couple games than at Notre Dame. Players and Cal have said it's mostly about moving the ball, not holding the ball. What for you been the biggest change, and do you think that what we've seen these last couple games is
For me, there was really like no big change. As a team, we figured.
Well, unfortunately, it's more rain.
Sorry.
So as a team, we figured that we needed to share the ball more. In the Notre Dame game, we didn't share the ball a lot. We didn't have a lot of assists that game, and it showed. That's why we didn't play to the level that we should have played. But these past two games, we've shared the ball. We made shots, and that was the big difference in those two games than the Notre Dame game. And we need to start playing like that because obviously it's working for us. So I think we'll continue to share the ball. But once we share the ball, we got to make shots. And I believe everyone's confidence is high right now. So we should be good doing that as well.
Questions for Jacob, guys. John Hale, go ahead.
We see so much about, or hear so much about your athleticism and your energy. How much of that is on your mind when you're going into these games to provide that, even if you're not necessarily putting up a bunch of points?
I don't think it's on my mind at all because I take pride in that. I'm an energy guy. Like I'm always, even off the court, I have a lot of energy. So it's not really on my mind. But in the game, that's what I'm going to provide. I'm going to provide energy. I'm going to do the hustle. I'm going to make hustle plays. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to help this team win. And if that's not scoring, that's not a problem to me because everyone else can score and we can win games without me scoring. So like, that's not a problem. But hustle plays, that energy is going to bring buckets to my name. So I'm not really worried about scoring. I'm worried about other things I can do to help this team win.
Larry Vaught will go to you, and then Jerry Tipton.
Yeah, Jacob, you talked about when you shared the ball, that everything went a whole lot better. But explain to me, is because you shared the ball better why you made shots, or did you make shots and that led to sharing the ball better? How does that kind of work together?
So after the Notre Dame game, Coach emphasized the word swagger. And I feel like since that day, everyone has tried to compose a swagger, and it's helping a lot. Everyone's confidence is building from that in practice. We're making shots. So we found a way to translate that to the games and sharing the ball, having that swagger, running up and down the floor, like bringing that energy is going to provide you with the shots that you need. And you just got to knock it down. And I believe everyone's, like I said before, has that confidence to knock down the shots now because of that swagger.
Jerry Tipton, go ahead.
Yeah, Jacob, I wonder, that makes me wonder where the swagger was prior to, Notre Dame.
It wasn't there. I don't think we were really worried about the swagger. I think we were worried about like just winning basketball games, and we were too focused on that it led to just us being very cautious about what we do. And you can't play cautious because that's when you make mistakes. So after that game, we realized that we just need to go out there and play basketball and play for one another and share the ball. And that's what we did these past two games. And you've seen the outcome.
And I wonder too, as you know, I'm sure the Missouri coach is going to miss the game. He's got COVID, and there's games being canceled here and there. I'm wondering if you guys have adapted to the new variant. You know what I mean? Has the lifestyle changed at all? How up in the air does everything seem to you right now?
We're definitely the best team in the country when it comes to COVID protocols. Everyone's healthy. We're all doing the necessary precautions that we need to do so we can play games. And Coach always said, if there's games canceled, we're going to have other games. We're going to have backups to our backups. So we're definitely prepared for anything that's coming our way. And at the end of the day, we're just going to be the last team standing because we're taking, like I said, the necessary protocols to this COVID stuff. And we're definitely prepared for anything.
Are you guys still mingling with each other? You know what I mean? Playing ping pong or whatever it is. You're not isolated in your rooms.
Yeah, right before this, I was playing Bryson, Kareem in pool. So we're definitely still mingling with one another. We're working out together. Everyone still has that connection, and we're building off of that.
Thank you.
Mitch Brown will go to you, and then Kyle, I'll circle back to you next.
Jacob, obviously in conference play, these are teams you guys are familiar with, but as you get out of the non-conference slate, is there, I guess, a mentality reset as you get ready, or kind of a new season mindset as you start conference play to 0-0?
I don't think it's a reset. I think it's just building off what we already started. Yesterday in practice, I heard Xavier say, now that conference play is coming, we're going to have to communicate a lot more. And I agree with him. And that's the leader he is. And that just shows what type of person he is. He's always looking out for his teammates. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to communicate more. I think that's the only change we need to make. SEC play, I believe, is going to be a lot more physicality. So we're definitely working on being physical in practice. We're going at each other. So I think we're going to be well prepared for SEC play.
Kyle Tucker will go to you, and then Tyler Thompson.
Had the crazy helicopter layup in the last game, and you've obviously had some wild dunkers. At what point in your launch pattern do you, or up to it, do you decide what you're going to do in the air?
I don't know.
How do you do that quick computation?
I don't know. I just go with the flow of the game, to be honest. That 360 layup, Davion passed me the ball, and the guy really like cut off my lane. So if I would have never spun, I would have probably fell. So I had to do the spin, and I was ready in the air, so I had to put it up, and I made the layup. So that was really just going with the flow of the game.
And this is a follow-up to that. Can you sense, it's kind of a nebulous thing, it's hard to quantify, but can you sense the value of energy it brings to a team when there's a moment like that, whether it's a layup or a crazy dunk? You put it down on somebody that it just kind of spikes the energy for the whole team.
100% brings energy. But if that's not happening, how are we going to bring the energy a different way? And I believe our bench has been great. On the bench, everyone's bringing energy. If someone's not playing a lot, they're still bringing energy. So it just shows the bond that we have as a team, and it shows how we're just very connected and how we want to see everyone succeed.
Tyler Thompson, you've got next.
Hey Jacob, it looks like you guys hosted the Dawson Springs high school teams yesterday. What was it like to have them at practice after everything they've been through, and maybe bring a smile to your face?
It was great. I didn't know who they were until after practice, but Coach explained to us who they were and what they went through. And it's devastating to see these people go through these certain things in their life. And Coach always emphasizes it's by the grace of God that it didn't hit where we are. And we're going to pray for them. Some of them got minor damage to their houses, but nothing major. So we're grateful for that. But it was definitely a good experience seeing them and being able to put a smile on their face after all they've been through.
Anything else for Jacob? All right, folks, give me just a few minutes and John Hale, you've got the first one. Go ahead.
Ty Jacob was just talking a lot about the swagger you guys kind of developed after that Notre Dame game. Where was it before, and how do you just turn that switch on?
I feel like we didn't have it early in the season because we were still figuring each other out, figuring out how to play with each other, still trying to figure out how to, score, play offense and defense, just we were just really finding who we are as a team. So, and I feel like to this point we kind of figure out who we are and what we're about. So that's just an easy opportunity for us to, to like, focus on our swagger, just give everybody confidence, take kind of pressure off our shoulders now that we know like how we're going to be playing, what guys expect from each other and stuff like that.
Kyle Tucker, we'll go to you, and then Larry Vaught.
As a follow-up to that, then who are you? If you figured out who you are you guys as a team? What would you define as your identity?
I feel like we're a defensive team who likes to get out and run. I know we're a fast team. We want to score a lot of easy buckets. So we know that's going to start on the defense side of the ball. So we feel like the harder we play on defense, the more we like pick up and get into guys' legs, the easier our offense will be for us and easier for us to get out in transition. I mean, practice, we run a whole lot. So it's just like that kind of plays to our advantage. So it's just like we're trying to get out and run as much as we can.
Larry Vaught, go ahead.
I was just talking about swagger. When you have 100 family members and friends come see you play in Vegas, what did that do for your swagger? Did it surprise you that many people showed up just to see you?
No, it didn't surprise me. Well, I mean, up there, like that amount surprised me, but I knew a lot of people were gonna come out to see because Vegas is like right around the corner from Arizona, so it was just like everybody wanted to come down and watch me play, and I felt like it just gave me a lot of confidence, just knowing that a bunch of people in the crowd, which are my family and friends, like they really just traveled down to come see me play. So, that just shows like the supporting system I have. And that just, really just gave me confidence.
John Wong, we'll go to you.
A guy in the sporting world now, we hear so much about COVID, different people reacting to it so differently. Some people are scared, other people doesn't bother them at all. As a basketball player, how much do you actually think about that? And does that affect how you guys perform on the court at all?
I think about COVID a lot, it just changed everything. It changed the entire world. So, I mean, when I'm in my room, I think about little stuff like that. But as far as when it comes from the basketball standpoint, I mean, I'm fully back. I'm vaccinated. So is our whole program. We all got the boosters. So it's just like, when we're out there on the court, that's our main focus. We're not really worried about COVID or anything in that nature because we know we did what we had to do, to stay as safe as possible.
Tyler Thompson, you got next.
Hey, Ty. So Jacob told us Severe kind of told you all what to expect when SEC play starts. What was his message to you about that?
He just told me just expect it to get physical, and just be ready because like these games are very important, not for only us, but the opponents we're playing as well. So he just said everybody's gonna try to step up their game to the next level, and he was just like, when he was at Georgia, when they found Kentucky on their SEC conference, when they got each other to play, he was super excited to play them. So he was just like telling me a lot of teams are going to be excited to play us. So we just got to be ready and stay sharp.
John Clay, go ahead.
And then my question's kind of along the same lines. Have you got to see much of SEC teams going into conference play, and how excited are you to play some of those teams?
Not necessarily. I mean, I seen like little highlights from here and there from other schools in the SEC, but really hadn't had a chance to watch games and stuff like that. I'm very excited to be going into SEC play because I mean I feel like SEC is the best conference out, so it's just like every night is going to be a really good game. Anybody could beat anybody, so you got to stay sharp and just stay on your A game.
Questions for Ty? Anybody else? All right, we'll let Ty, oh, hold on. Got one from Kyle.
Yeah, Ty, obviously you guys have kind of exploded offensively these last couple games. I just wonder, to you, I mean, we've heard all about passing and it's just about passing each other the ball. Is there anything more to it than that? Just a willingness to keep the ball moving? And also, I mean, 95 plus points the last 2 games is maybe not that, but is this level of offensive production sustainable for you all?
Yeah, I think we could sustain this offense. I mean, early on, everybody sees what Oscar's doing. We all know Oscar's gonna get baskets at the end of the day. So it was just really us shooters that were kind of been, I'm not saying struggling, but kind of been, like inconsistent when it comes to shooting. But I just feel like these past 2 games, I mean, we started making our shots. I played a huge role to us getting points, and I just felt like our defensive intensity really stepped us up. But back to the offense, we've been moving the ball, practicing how to play with one another, really just moving the balls, running, spacing. Spacing is a huge part for us. And, we're just finding other ways to score the basketball besides giving it to Oscar. And we started making shots.
Back to you, John Clay.
I'm not talking about making shots. Kellen's has made shots the last 2 games. How does that help the rest of the team? How does it open up things for yourself and others?
That opens up everything pretty much because, like, now we got Oscar dominated the paint, and then you got Granddad sitting behind the 3-point line, knocking them in. So it's just open up driving lanes for guys like me, Keon, Xavier. And it's like whenever me or Xavier get to the paint, we either got floaters or we could find Oscar down low, Keon, or we could find Kellen out on the perimeter. So it's just like with us starting to make perimeter shots, it's just opening up and expanding our offense to how we normally play.
Kyle, back to you.
You mentioned Granddad there, and I know you guys have been calling Kellen that for a while now. Granddads often impart a lot of wisdom on the grandchildren. What is the biggest value to sort of that granddadness that Kellen brings to you guys?
He just brings happy spirit. I mean, Kellen, because he could have 50 points or he could have 0 points. He's still going to be the same person. He's still going to be cheering, still going to be playing hard, running hard, and Granddad, like, off the court, he's, like, super funny. Granddad, off the court, Granddad acts like grandchild. That's what he acts like. So, I mean, he's always a happy guy. Every time you see him, he's always smiling. And, like, just guys like that, they always bring happy spirits to, the team and myself.
Anything else for Ty? All right, we'll let Ty go, guys. Give me a few minutes and we'll get John Hill, you got first.
I know you've talked a few times about having, backups on your schedule in case COVID stuff happens. How much flexibility is there in SEC play though? Do you have to reserve spots for those games to be rescheduled, or can you just go ahead and reschedule?
We're really trying to get ahead of that. Let's just say, this is my opinion, and I'll say this again, no one listens to my opinion. So let me start by telling you that. You're down 3 games, you're not making them up. And if there's 10 days or 7 days that you're not playing and you're not going to make up those games, we need to just replace them. Just these kids need to play games. And if both teams are healthy, the officials are healthy, play the ball game. And it may mean us adding a home and home for next year. It may mean, having a game here where we got to travel, or it may mean a neutral game with Gonzaga in Chicago or Dallas or somewhere. But we need to play games. And, my career has been any place, any team, any place, anytime. I mean, that's been who I've been. Now, when you have an arena that seats this many and you make as much as we make on home games, you got to play some home games that you're not returning so that you take care of tennis and all the other sports programs. But, it's a case now. This is different. And if this happens and there are a bunch, you're missing 2 or 3 games in a row, there's no space to make up those games. So let's play against who's ready to play. And like I said, I'm on the phones right now just saying, let's keep this out there. Let's think about it, and so friends of mine in the profession, we're just talking it through so we can play games.
Kyle Tucker, we'll go to you and then John Clay.
Yeah, Cal, I was wondering, you mentioned, and Ty reiterated that your team is obviously vaccinated and boosted now completely. What does that mean for you all's protocol? Do you not have to test anyone unless they are symptomatic now at this point?
That'll be the approach of this. But we have our whole staff the same. And there's mitigation things that we're trying to do. Like, we really literally don't want to be around the other sports teams. It's not disrespectful. It's not Title IX. It is about mitigating opportunities. If I go out, I've been to games, but I try to keep a mask on, whether anybody else does or not, keep a mask on. And I tell them, you got to mitigate. You're together, you're fine, but you got to mitigate other opportunities where you're mixing with people. But the kids have been great. I mean, I think, again, if it's important to me, it'll be important to them. I always say that. If they know something is really important to me, it'll be important to them. And we've made this for the last 2 years, like, look, this and mental health and all the other things, we haven't forgot about basketball, but we've tried to stay on this.
John Clay and then Larry Vaught.
How do you say the kids need to play games? How much of that is for their mental health, just to keep them engaged and playing and not have long layoffs so they don't have?
Yeah, and that's what I believe, John. I think, and then the other thing is playing the best people out there so that the challenge of not just playing a game, that we have North Carolina. Yeah, Ohio State didn't work, but it was North Carolina. And then Louisville didn't work, but it was Western Kentucky who just beat Louisville. So there was that challenge that really gets the juices going. And it also brings us together because we need each other, but again, playing games, I think for all these teams, I think all of us coaches are thinking in the same terms. How do we stay healthy? How do we mitigate what's out there? And then, all right, if stuff goes awry, what are you going to do? And I always say, you guys know how I am. It's, all right, where is this going? Reading tea leaves. What would happen? What would we do if this happens? How do we try to get ahead of this? How do we, again, 4 league games are canceled. All right, let's play 3 other games or 2 at least. And there's still room maybe to add a team or 2 from our league. or maybe 2 teams in our league are healthy, then you guys play. Let's play it that way. But I think we've got to be nimble and flexible, and because we don't know where this is going.
Larry Mike, go ahead, and John Long.
Hey, John, I was just wondering, going back to the basketball question, you feel pretty comfortable with your rotation now? You got to the point you think you've got a set rotation that you're going to be able to roll with for the rest of the season?
No, I don't. And I think we're one of those teams, like, without Lance in the North Carolina game in that first half, we're probably down and maybe it's a different game. So Lance has a role, but there are times we want to throw a guy in that's going to get lobs and dunks and blocks. Well, that wouldn't be Lance. So maybe it's Damian. I would say there are times that we're trying to bring Bryce along so he could be that car crash, so he can get to the free throw line. Give us one more physical body out there. But I told Dante yesterday, be ready for your chance. I can't tell you when and where it's coming, but you've got to prove that you deserve to play more. Well, just play him 30 minutes and it doesn't work that way. Here's where you are on this team. Be an all-star in your role. Be an all-star. You can't, like I talked to the guys, you don't need 30 minutes to prove who you are. This 30 minutes. Well, I think we had a team a little ways back that no one played more than 20 minutes, 21 minutes. And 6 of them were drafted. 1 was the number 1 pick. So that's ego high school. You come here, you prove, you learn to fight, number 1. You learn to fight in practice because you got to survive, and in games where it's everybody's Super Bowl. You learn to fight. That's what I think is carried over to the guys who have had success after they've left here. Some didn't have as much success here and are having more later. One of them being Michael Mulder. Think about who he played against every day. He learned to fight. He was athletic. He didn't get a chance to the level, but you know what? Cream always rises. If you learn to fight, you learn to battle, take what you want. If you have to be promised everything, we're going to do this and we're going to run this, everything's going to be to you. Those kids don't come here anyway. They just don't. It's an easier run. And I've told the guys, there's no easy way to what you're trying to do or what we're trying to do as a team. What is your role? What do you have to do? I think one of the best things we've done is we have a sprint coordinator. And you say, well, what is a sprint coordinator? Well, at the end of every game, he evaluates every sprint, an opportunity from defense to offense or even offense to defense. How many times did he sprint when he had an opportunity as an A, a B, or C, or a D? It's graded. And the guys, this is crazy, with the best numbers in the sprints per game are the best players on our team right now. So I would tell you, if you're not playing to the level you want to play, sprint. Just sprint. Because the guys that are sprinting are playing the best for us. Well, can I do it another way? Because that's really hard. I don't like sprinting every time. And so that, I think, has been the best thing that we've added to what we do, is we have a sprint coordinator.
John Long, go ahead, and John Clay.
John, I didn't know if we get a chance to talk to you before Friday, but you've got Tubby coming in to get his jersey retired to the rafters. I assume that you would like to be up there with him one of these days, but you're both Hall of Fame coaches. What is so unique and special about looking up in the rafters of Rupp and seeing your jersey up there?
I'm hoping we just win another game, so I'm not worried about jerseys right now. But here's the thing, and I wanted this for Coach Hall. And I want it for Tubby. I want guys that were here in this seat, which is a really tough place to be. I love it, but it's not the easiest place to be. That they are loved by our fans And it doesn't matter how anybody tries to portray them or move the fans. They're not moving that way. You could try to move them, but they're not moving. At the end of the day, they appreciate what Tubby did for this program. Won 27 games a year, 27 games a year, Final Fours, national title, class act, and they appreciate it. And so this honor for him, like I wish it would have been done before. But I remember when we got Coach Hall to step on the court and do the Y the first time. I think it was in my first year. I think everybody then understood this. The ovation he got was bigger than any ovation that they could have given to a player or a coach, that it was Coach Joe B. Hall. And so, I think Tubby's in the same thing. I mean, you're talking a guy that did so much for this program and did it right, won at a high level. But I'm happy for him.
John Clay, you got next?
Ryan had made the SEC play in 5 teams and 5 of the top 20, 5 of the top 18 were SEC teams in the AP poll. Was the league about as strong as you've seen?
Yeah, the goal always was, let's get 7 or 8 teams in the NCAA tournament, John, when we were getting what, 3? And how do we do this? Well, part of it was the investment each school made in their basketball program, and they did. So I always say this: coaches win basketball games, administrations win championships. And again, if you want to stay the gold standard, even us, you got to go through your facilities and say, where are we stacking up against the best and what they've done? Because for us, everybody looked at what we were doing and said, let's do better. Just what it was. I can't tell you how many people looked at our practice facility, looked at the Cole Lodge, and said, well, we're going to do better. And so for us, again, administrations win championships. And so for this league, administrations can pick up programs. Coaches will help them win games. But we got terrific coaches. The recruiting has gone to another level. And normally it was just Kentucky. Well, they got 7 of the top whatever, and 5 were coming here. Now that's not the case. Now all of a sudden it's 10, 12, 15 kids that are in the top coming to this league. So you got administrations that are committed. You got coaches that can really coach. Recruiting, which is added to having really good players, which is showing in the draft. I mean, we get, you look at what's happening here in this league. It's really special.
As we got time for a couple more, we'll go to Kyle and then John.
Now, these are 2 separate thoughts, but does anyone anywhere apply to Indiana at the moment if that situation arose? And also, is Brad the sprint coordinator?
Okay, who would be the worst sprinter on the staff? No, I could outrun Brad. Now, if it were a bear chasing us, I'd just look at Brad and say, all I got to do is outrun you, because I'm not outrunning anybody else. So what I did was, whoever the worst sprinter is became the sprint coordinator. So yes, it is Brad. What was the other question you asked, John? I don't even.
Does anyone anywhere in this sort of scheduling, having people ready, would that apply to Indiana if that situation arose? Would you
that could be a possibility. Again, we'd have to look at both things and where we would play it. I'm still. I mean, when we had a chance, Indiana, to be in the CBS Classic, they chose not to. That we had a chance of playing in Indianapolis, they chose not to. So when you're doing this scheduling, you do it within 16, 20 hours. There's not like, okay, let's negotiate. There is nothing. Here's the game. Are we playing or not? Bang, we don't play next. Here we go. So Mike's done a great job too, by the way. I mean, Indiana's playing great basketball. They're doing good stuff.
John, go ahead, and then we'll get a question from Missouri from Dave.
Now, it seems like maybe even more than last year because the schedule wasn't built for this. Teams are going to get to Selection Sunday with vastly different number of games played. How do you think the committee should handle all this in terms of evaluation for senior and all that?
You know, I haven't spent any time thinking about it, and I'd let those guys. I'm spending most of my time trying to get my team better, but they'll figure it out, and we'll have a tournament. We know the extreme would be a bubble. Extreme. I'm hoping it's not that. But my concern right now is my players, our program, that we're getting better, that we're mitigating, that we're safe. We're not getting anybody else sick. Not just worried about us. I'm worried about, do we get it and give it to somebody else? So we're doing all the things that we got to do. Looking ahead schedule wise, the league would have to cooperate for us to add games. They'd have to cooperate and say, okay, I see what you're saying. There's not going to be dates, and we play more games. So look, here's what I was saying the other night. You remember when we played 16 games? You guys remember? There was 2 added home and homes in there now. And when they added 18, it took away 2 home and homes. Now we still have our couple home and homes. We have the challenge. We have the Champions Classic. We have the CBS Classic. We'll usually play, but that's when you had the room to schedule all these other people. So that's why I'm saying if we drop 2 games because of whatever, let's go back to adding what we added. I always thought the league should stay at 16 anyway. Give us flexibility to go schedule what we wanted to. Now the league is better. I get it. It's fine. But, again, my concern is Kentucky.
Finish it off with Dave Matter from the St. Louis Dispatch.
Hey, John, just wanted to get your thoughts and impressions on Missouri. Obviously, they won't have Conzo tomorrow night, but what have you seen from them so far?
Well, first of all, when I heard Conzo and I talked yesterday because I wanted to make sure he was okay, and he sounded good. So, this thing is, gets you asymptomatic. You have nothing, and all of a sudden you get tested and you have it. So, from what he and I talked about, he's going to be fine. Their team always plays hard, plays physical. They rebound. They're plus in the rebound column. They shoot the ball to go get rebounds. They drive it. They're physically playing through bumps. It's the kind of team that gives us trouble. So it's going to be a hard game for us. But again, it's another game that we learn, okay, when a team plays physical, when a team plays really hard and doesn't give you an inch, how do you play now? They collapse on defense. So it's not going to be easy just to throw it to Oscar. They collapse. You're going to have to make some jump shots. The teams that gave Missouri trouble made jump shots. They made 12, 14, 15 threes. Those are the teams they struggled against.
All right, guys, we'll end it there. We'll have the transcript later this afternoon and get the game notes again.